First of all, as you can see, this is my new shirt right here. I'm just going to start off with the advertisement. Be unashamed about that. And live in the moment, anticipating Christ's coming. This is my new shirt that I'm launching. If you like it, let me know about it, and I'll fill you in further on the details. Now also, speaking of something new, I have a segment called Let Me Explain. Let Me Explain is basically my topics, and I'm just giving you the introduction of saying, let me explain. And today's topic is blinded by the white man's version of Christianity, conservatively speaking. I'm Marvin Fant, and this is Fantline. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let me explain. I have to give you a little insight on myself. Now, this is going back to when I first got saved in the 90s, and upon reading the Bible and so forth, I found a lot of the viewpoints were conservative. But, and let me fast forward also before people start assuming or want to chime in on what's what. Now, also I learned that a lot of liberal thoughts are also in lines up with the Bible also, okay? So I'm just gonna let you know right there from the start, all right? So we don't have to talk about conservative versus liberal and all this other stuff, because to me that's nonsensical now. But to preface this situation, I was starting to be one-sided, and my viewpoints as a Christian, I was, and it's always, when it comes to conservative Christianity, it's always two main sticking points: abortion and homosexuality. These are the two main sticking points. Now, of course, there's, on the liberal side, there's global warming, there's political correctness, and then getting back to the conservative side, there's Second Amendment rights, be it to bear arms. But the two main sticking points, conservatively speaking, is abortion and homosexuality. Now, Christian conservatives will, especially when it comes to abortion, that is topic number one. And rightfully so, will fight you tooth and nail on that. But through the years, I've come to see that abortion, albeit wrong, but here's the thing. But you have to put it in the proper context when it's wrong, for it to be wrong. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, now if it's a situation where someone has been irresponsible and they're trying to have an abortion just because they don't want to take care of the baby, got to call you out on that. Got to let you know that's wrong. But on the other point, on the other hand, because there is a gray area, the gray area is when there is rape involved. I think I've come to learn that it should be up to that woman, that individual, if she wants that abortion or not. I've come to learn this because you think about the trauma that this woman has gone through, first in being raped, violently being raped, having your body taken against your will, and then this individual who raped you has planted his seed inside you. Not every woman can deal with that situation, especially on the severity of the rape. And put yourself in her situation. And even if you're a man and try to have empathy on this matter, whereas being raped, and say if you go through with the birth, but having to be reminded every day that this individual who you don't even know, may not even know, and sometimes it could be a family member, but the thing is, you may not even know them or whatever, and to be reminded every day of this person living in a house with you. Now, granted, they had nothing to do with this. They had nothing to do with this. But the physical features, the characteristics are the same as the one who planted that seed. And when I mean characteristics, sometimes I'm not talking about evil characteristics, but I'm talking about mannerisms and so forth, and even speaking, and especially the way that person looks. Would you be able to deal with that on a daily basis and then take care of that child and watching it grow up? And I know you'll have that love, but still at the same time, that reminder of what happened to you, that reminder of that traumatic experience, that's something that really has to be boiled down to the individual and their choice. That's my only situation on that. I've had talks with friends of mine, and it was an eye-opening experience. Some of those talks, a lot of those talks were not good, especially when they were observing from afar, so to speak, and that really wasn't a talk. And I'm referring to during the past several years of an uproar in prejudice, racism, classism, and so forth. And a lot of things have been brought to the forefront. A lot of things that I brought to the forefront. And I've had individuals who called me a friend at one point or another and disagreed on the subject, be it racism. And these are church-going people who I would figure would have empathy for the matter and for the situation. But I was led wrong on that. I was trying to give them the benefit of a doubt of first of all, them knowing me, and then secondly, just a matter of wrong versus right. But all these situations that came up with cops being abusive, situations with Donald Trump, And you would figure that they would take the side of right versus wrong. You know, Jesus versus Satan. Didn't go that way. Did not go that way. Take, for instance, the situations with the cops. It was always, no matter the story, it was always about being on the side of the cops. Or, well, those individuals, they must have done something wrong. Or either there was just complete silence. And I know there were situations where certain individuals should not have run, so to speak, but at the same time, these were always situations where the person did not have a gun on them. And if the person didn't have a gun on them, why are you shooting to kill? Why are you shooting to kill? And I'm referring to the cops. But yet, my so-called friends would always be on the side of the cops, no matter what. When it came to Donald Trump, and I give you, especially the insurrection. And first of all, let me preface this also. When Trump was, and I'm letting you know that me, I'm a fair-minded person right down the middle. So even when it comes to an individual, whether I support them or not, when it comes to being in that president's seat, I'm going to support you until you show me or prove me wrong. And then I'm going to pull back from you. I'm going to give you a chance, just like I do this with every president, whether I agree with him or not. I did this with Trump. I didn't say a word. My idea was to support until you start doing things that make me feel otherwise. And that's what he started doing. See, I'm not the type of individual where it's always about, I used to be, like I said, and I preface this from the start now, but as time goes on, I'm still about right versus wrong. You doing the right thing versus the wrong. And it came to fruition of last year, January 6th, with the insurrection. And I noticed how many individuals who say they were my friend never spoke out against that. Now, they were always talking about pro-police and all this other stuff, but when police officers were injured, and I believe even killed, from what I can recall, there was no outcry. There was no outcry on the situation. That was a red flag right there. And to me, it was all about, instead of being Jesus first, you were about being for the party first. Being for the party first. Now, at first I was going to say Republican. No. Because I've seen individuals also who I could call out on the liberal side. And they would be more about being liberal than being about Jesus. For me, it's about being Jesus first. And screw this political nonsense. I'm about Jesus first. And that's the thing. We've gotten to the point as a society and as church people, as Christians, Whereas you put your allegiance to the political structure first over being a Christian. And that's wrong. That is so wrong. I got to call you out on that. That's wrong. You know, we have individuals like Candace Owens on social media who, I mean, she is just so far out there. It's like she hates her own skin color. And that's a shame. That is a shame. It's like she's been brainwashed. And the same for Herschel Walker, former college and NFL star, national title winner for Georgia. And I had, a lot of respect for Herschel until I came across his personality, so to speak, how he really is. And just like Candace, just totally brainwashed. And I will admit I was to a certain degree, but not to this level. Not to this level. And it comes down to and how they being brainwashed in the sense of it's under the guise of being a Christian, but everything is conservative viewpoints. And don't get me wrong, there are certain conservative viewpoints that I adhere to. Unwavering. Be it being against homosexuality, but not to the point of, you're going to physically harm somebody. No, that's not me. But like I said, don't get it twisted, don't get it wrong. But again, just the brainwashing stems from under the guise of being a Christian versus being conservative. And the main thing with conservative churches is that they don't, and I say again, they don't speak, I was going to say enough, but heck, I don't even hear them speak about racism. I don't hear them speak about bigotry. I don't hear them speak about prejudice. They don't at all. Not at all. And that's what's glaring. That's what's wrong. And that's what can be confusing. When these topics of police brutality comes up, police racism comes up, systemic racism comes up, they're silent. You don't hear them speak about it. I even had a friend of mine tell me that I was doing too much. I was saying too much about it. That if I keep, the reason that it keeps stuff like that, this keeps going on because we talk about it too much. I was like, wow, really? We talk about it too much? This is why it keeps going on? Wow. All I try to do is educate people on situations. Things that had been pushed under the rug, swept under the rug. And he's telling me that if I be quiet about it, that it'll go away. I wish it was true. I wish if we just don't say anything about it, it'll go away. Come on. Come on. Stop being foolish. Stop being foolish. But it's the world we live in, right? That's the world we live in. So, bottom line is that as a man, and more importantly as a Christian, we have to call them out. What's wrong is wrong, and what's right is right. Stop putting your political viewpoints ahead of being a Christian. Otherwise, you're just a phony. Enough said.